Okay. Hello, everyone. I guess I can start right now. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, you should see it normally. Tell me if it's the case. Yes, in the chat. I think so. So let's start then. Very glad to be with all of you today. I'm Eric Dupassage, working in the Gobain group as a sustainable business manager, so on sustainable construction. And I'm going to introduce to you our visions on sustainable construction and how to move to low carbon buildings thanks to our solutions, manufacturing solutions. So just to start saying a bit who we are, Saint-Gobain, we are a worldwide leader designing, manufacturing and distributing materials, building sector materials. We are an old company because we were founded more than 350 years ago. We are located in around 70 countries. And we have many plants and outlets in different businesses, regional businesses first, with some materials such as flat glass, of course, but also plasterboard, insulation, all type of insulation, mortars industry and construction chemicals also. And we have also some global businesses. Some of them are related to construction. Such as fiberglass wall coverings, for instance. Some of them are a bit far from construction business, and we are, for instance, a leader in automotive glass. So that was just in a nutshell to introduce Saint-Gobain to you, in case you don't know us yet. The news is that we are focused on sustainable construction, on light and sustainable construction. Our CEO announced this new strategy a few months ago now. They want to be the leader in light and sustainable construction and to help our customers minimizing their footprint thanks to high performance solutions. I guess we all share this slide together that buildings are part of the problem of climate change, of course, because we represent 1/3 of all energy use, a bit more even in terms of greenhouse gas emissions. Also, regarding circularity, we generate a lot of solid waste. That's why we have to, of course, to tackle the topic. Our purpose at Saint-Gobain is to make the world a better home, and that's why we have two levels of contributions to make the world a better home. The first one is maximizing our impact on our customers, thanks to our insulation solutions, glazing, glass wool, or even stone wool. We are able to contribute to avoided emissions for our customers. And I'll go, of course, a bit deeper on this topic. And in the same way, we want us at Saint-Gobain to minimize our footprint. That's why we committed for carbon neutrality by 2050. You have here on the right of the slides a bit our 2030 objectives, which is the in-between ambitions to reach finally 2015 carbon neutrality. And you see there that we have very ambitious targets and means, of course, to reach those targets on our scope 1, 2, and 3, and also lots of ambition on circular economy, on non-valorized production residue or virgin raw materials avoided. And a big topic for us is product transparency. I come back to it, but life cycle analysis and product transparency is very key, and it's a way we contribute to minimize our footprint and to be as transparent as possible on the product we are manufacturing and distributing. So as I said, we want to be the worldwide leader in light and sustainable construction. I'm going to explain you a bit what's behind this word light and sustainable construction for us at Saint-Gobain. And also try to explain a bit more how our solutions can contribute to low carbon buildings. First, we have identified now 13 drivers, which you can see here at the bottom of the slide, defining what's a sustainable building. We have, for us, the first topic is to building with reduced environmental footprint on energy and carbon, on resources and circularity, and in the same way, having an enhanced health and well-being, both for the occupants of the buildings and for the installers, the craftsmen on the job sites, in construction or demolition phases. If I take the first topic on energy and carbon, and this is where, of course, we will go more in detail, our vision, and I guess we share all this opinion also, is to minimize the energy need of the building, thanks to high energy efficiency. The remaining energy need, we have to supply it as far as possible with renewable energies. And of course, we don't have to forget embodied carbon, and I'll come back to it more in details. So you see that we have those three main drivers on energy and carbon topics. And in the same way, we have defined also some other drivers for the other pillars of defining what's a sustainable building. We have defined also this dashboard defining what a sustainable building and try to choose one indicator per driver, defining it. If I take energy efficiency, the first one on the left of the slide, you see that our vision is having an energy need for heating, cooling, dehumidification below 25 kilowatt hours per square meter and per year. So basically the passive house level. And of course, operational carbon might be reduced to zero as far as possible, thanks to renewable energies. And regarding embodied carbon, we think it's hard to define a global average on this topic. And the first step is, of course, to make an LCA, a life cycle analysis of the building, to assess the global warming potential, the embodied carbon of the building in itself. So buildings are part of the problem, but we have the solutions, we know the solutions, and we have a key role to play in decarbonation at all phases of the building and at all phases also of the materials and on their whole life cycle. If I take the first driver, you remember, it's how do we increase energy efficiency? As I said, the idea for us is to minimize the energy need for heating, cooling, lighting, both for renovations and for new builds. Since building sector represents a lot, we have to minimize this energy need. And what it means for building, it means, of course, thermal insulation, it means glazing, can mean also smart membranes to improve air tightness and moisture management, but also smart technologies to monitor and control energy consumption. Our contribution at Saint-Gobain is through a wide range of solutions, products, systems, or even services, contributing to higher energy efficiency. Of course, ethics systems first, which we promote a lot, for instance, with our brand Weber, which is a great solution in order to save space, of course, internally, in interior building, and also to cover thermal breaches. We have also a wide range of membranes for air tightness and moisture management. We promote triple glazing and low emissive glasses as far as possible. And of course, insulation systems. You have to know as an order of magnitude that over its installed life, usually 50 years, glass-full insulations can save up to 300 times the energy consumed and CO2 emitted in its production. So we can say it's of course a useful and with the high payback materials to be used in order to increase energy efficiency and to reduce also carbon emission, operational carbon emission. Second main topic, as I said, is use of renewable energies. Of course, the idea is to supply the remaining energy need with renewable and decarbonized sources, as far as possible, locally produced energies to reduce to zero operational carbon. At Saint-Gobain, we have several brands and we contribute to this topic. I could mention, for instance, Certainteed, our brand in the US producing solar panel shingles. We also are an actor. We are also an actor in building integrated photovoltaic panels in Netherlands, for instance, integrated within the building facades, and a key supplier of components for solar panel, thanks to installations of Gleisfaber, for instance. Third main topic, of course, is embodied carbon. Depending on the figures, it can be between, depending on the country, and energy mix, it can vary a lot, but what is sure is that it will grow, this share of embodied carbon within all the greenhouse gas emission from the building sector. So we have first to assess this embodied carbon of our materials. I'll come back to it, to assess the global warming potential indicator. What it means for building is, of course, materials with high level of recycled content. And we know there is a direct link between recycled content and low embodied carbon. Alternative raw materials also, replace, for instance, cement by alternative raw materials, and of course, lightweight construction. I will share a few examples then. Why is it important to reduce the embodied carbon emissions? That you may have seen this studied already, so if I take this embodied carbon, which is the carbon over the whole life cycle of the materials, raw material supply, the manufacturing, until end of life in the construction of demolition phases, and waste and processing and disposal of the materials. It represents a lot, around 1/3 of today of emissions from the building sector. And as I said, it will grow in the next future for sure, as far as we improve energy efficiency of the building. So we have to tackle this topic. And our contribution at Saint-Gobain, we do it thanks to lots of solutions, lightweight system, of course. We have, for instance, lightweight plasterboard in the Nordics countries with the Ergolite product. We have some lightweight facades. This is the one I'm showing on the slide, the F4 facade in France, for instance. And you see here directly, if you compare an F4 facade to an ETICS on concrete wall, or even to an internal insulation system on a concrete wall, we are about twice lower in terms of embodied carbon. So this type of lightweight facade using cement board or plasterboard, metal frame, which can replace concrete as far as possible. Of course, this is very promising solutions. As I said, we try more and more to find some alternative raw material thanks to waste materials in order to reduce the embodied carbon of mortars product, for instance. Cullet recycling, I'll come back to it, but cullet, is the broken glass you can, coming from windows or facades, which you can reuse to increase the recycled content of glass. Of course, this is a very important topic. Raw earth construction, of course, is a low embodied carbon systems. We have made some acquisition in France, for instance. Biosourced materials, we have an offer of, for instance, in France on the wood fiber insulation, which is very contributive also in terms of embodied carbon. How you can have some, it can help to capture capture carbon, and you are able to assess it thanks to biogenic carbon in life cycle analysis. Last but not least, construction chemicals. We have, for instance, acquired a few companies just like Chryso, which is a big actor in terms of additives for concrete, which can allow to replace cement, to lower also the level of water needed to produce concrete, and at the end to lower the embodied carbon level of concrete. So construction chemicals is also a key market in order to decarbonize the construction market, especially concrete. I'll make just a focus on glass because and how we try at Saint-Gobain to produce low carbon glass, low carbon flat glass. The first main challenge is to collect glazing. So in order to reduce the carbon footprint and increase the recycled content. This is why we are launching more and more some recycling service in order to collect and to dismantle windows, facades, and finally having the new golden nugget, which is collect in order to reintroduce in the manufacturing process in closed loop. In that way, we save some energy. If you collect 1 ton of cullet in the composition of the glass, it means around 30% less energy consumed for the melting of the glass. It's about 700 kilograms of CO2 avoided on scope 1, 2, and 3. And it's also less, of course, raw materials, about 1.2 tons of virgin raw materials preserved, such as sand, of course. And we know that there are some scarcity risks regarding sand. So that's why we have to accelerate on recycling content for the glass production. And that's what we do in Europe, mainly, thanks to new recycling services and collection of cullet. Maybe you have seen it in the press, but we have announced 2 weeks ago now the first zero carbon production on scope 1 and 2 in a 1-hour plant in the north of France, in Aniche, thanks to 100% cullet compositions, thanks to green electricity, and thanks to biogas. So it's very promising in order to deliver to the market in the future zero carbon glass on scope 1 and 2, which can contribute and have positive impact on the embodied carbon of the buildings in renovation or in for new building also. And we know that there are some measures everywhere to tackle this embodied carbon in France, in Denmark, for instance, some recent regulations. So that's why we have also to deliver to the market this kind of very innovative solutions. So that was the focus I wanted to make, especially on glass materials. So our contribution, so I've tried to share with you on those 3 drivers, energy efficiency, renewable materials, embodied carbon, our vision at Saint-Gobain, and how our solutions can contribute to reach and to increase the sustainability of the building sector. Our main contribution also, I wanted to highlight this, is product transparency. Our choice to do that is these documentations called environmental product declarations, which is a document based on life cycle analysis results. This is a transparent, complied, and third-party verified way to communicate the footprint of our offer, of our product materials. Thanks to this EPD, environmental product declaration, architects, developers will be able to have a clear idea, quantitative indicators on carbon, but not only, on many more indicators. It's a multi-criteria approach, multi-step, because it's on within this EPD. You'll have all the whole life of the product until we say from cradle to grave. So on the whole life cycle of the materials, all the impacts on several criteria, which is great and make things comparable also with other products. It's that it's led by international standard. And as I said, it's third-party verified. You can apply products and also for systems mixing several products. And this is the only commonly acknowledged method to compare environmental performance of materials. We are one of the leaders in this topic with more than 1,500 EPDs. So it was last October. I think it's even more today, of course. On all our markets, we are able to deliver this level of product transparency in insulation, also in gypsum, in mortars, in glass, EcoFond also for ceilings, PAM for pipes systems. And we are able to provide those EPDs relying on all different program operators in all the countries, actually in 34 countries all over the world. So that was in a nutshell what I wanted to say on sustainable construction, and especially how our vision on low carbon building and how our solutions can contribute to reach ambitious level of low carbon building. Just wanted to remind you that we are a knowledge partner ready to collaborate on sustainability. And we are all convinced that we need all the parties around the table to tackle these topics, manufacturers as we are, but also architects, developers, consultants, in order to collaborate and to make to innovate together on our solutions. This is what we do in many businesses. I was talking about low carbon glass on which we are working. We are working with some customers on this topic. And as you have understood, you are a solutions provider for sustainable building projects. And we stand at your disposal. Myself, of course, if you want to further discuss after this presentation, but also with your local contacts all over the world where we are located and present. Thank you very much. I'm looking at the time. I'm a bit in advance, so I don't know if there are some questions in the chat. I'm just checking.